Tensions between Fatah and Hamas increased significantly since 2005 after the death of PLO leader Yasser Arafat. Well, the conflict intensified after Hamas won the elections in 2006. Now the Palestinian territories are divided de facto between a Fatah-led administration in the West Bank and a Hamas-controlled Gaza. This division is reflected in the constant infighting and bloodshed inside the region.
Pro-Hamas and pro-Fatah militias fought each other street to street, each side accusing the other of either corruption or intransigence. Hamas prevailed in Gaza, Fatah in the West Bank. Israel and Egypt economically blockaded Gaza. The territories of the West Bank, with 2.5 million Palestinians, and Gaza, with 1.5 million, have not only been geographically distanced from each other, but politically divided.
School's out in Gaza, and for thousands of teenagers here, this is how the holidays are spent. Preparation for the next conflict with Israel, handling firearms and physical training. Their enemy is very close, just a few hundred meters away at the border. There's every chance they're watching, so the tutors at this summer camp like to keep their faces covered.
Israelis running for shelter in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Seeking safety from Hamas rockets launched from Gaza, now a daily occurrence across Israel.
Israeli military officials said gunmen in Gaza fired at least 400 rockets and mortars at central and southern Israel on Wednesday.
Tonight in Tel Aviv, images that change everything in an escalation that has already spiraled so fast. Israel's missile defense systems lighting up the sky as they try to intercept incoming Hamas rockets. 130 of them were fired from Gaza in one barrage.
Palestinian militants reportedly launching a rocket from Gaza while a reporter was live on air.
What happened? What happened? This was a rocket.
That reporter with France 24, Gallagher Fenwick, says he saw rocket launchers next to a residential building and another one outside a United Nations building. Another international news organization released this video reportedly showing militants setting up rockets.
We're seeing Hamas setting up for a rocket launch just meters away from our hotel.
Indian news channel NDTV then aired this video saying it shows rockets being fired from a residential area. The Israeli government has repeatedly accused Hamas of firing rockets from densely populated areas in Gaza, and just last week the Israeli military released another video saying it shows just that.
Founded in 1987, Hamas is a terrorist organization which openly declares its intention to wipe Israel off the map.
Hamas formed in late 1987 at the beginning of the first Palestinian Intifada uprising. Its roots are in the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, and it is supported by a robust sociopolitical structure inside the Palestinian territories. The group's charter calls for establishing an Islamic Palestinian state in place of Israel and rejects all agreements made between the PLO and Israel. Hamas' strength is concentrated in the Gaza Strip and areas of the West Bank. Hamas has a military wing known as the al-Qassam Brigades that has conducted many anti-Israel attacks in both Israel and the Palestinian territories since the 1990s. These attacks have included large-scale bombings against Israeli civilian targets, small arms attacks, improvised roadside explosives, and rocket attacks. The group in early 2006 won legislative elections in the Palestinian territories, ending the secular Fatah party's hold on the Palestinian Authority and challenging Fatah's leadership of the Palestinian nationalist movement. Hamas continues to refuse to recognize or renounce violent resistance against Israel, and since 2008, Hamas-organized terrorists have conducted several suicide bombings, killing civilians, as well as numerous rocket and mortar attacks that have injured civilians inside Israel and also inside Gaza. The U.S. government, Australia, Japan, Canada, Israel, Egypt and European Union have designated Hamas a foreign terrorist organization. The Battle of Gaza, also referred to as Hamas's takeover of Gaza, was a military conflict between Fatah and Hamas that took place in the Gaza Strip between June 10 and 15, 2007. It was a prominent event in the Fatah-Hamas conflict, centered on the struggle for power, after Fatah lost the parliamentary elections of 2006. Hamas fighters took control of the Gaza Strip and removed Fatah officials. The battle resulted in the dissolution of the unity government and the de facto division of the Palestinian territories into two entities, the West Bank governed by the Palestinian National Authority, and Gaza governed by Hamas. Over 600 Palestinians were killed in the fighting from January 2006 to May 2007. Dozens more were killed or executed in the following years as part of the conflict. Since Hamas took over, they have committed unimaginable, unlawful or arbitrary killings by Hamas personnel, torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment by Hamas personnel, arbitrary arrest or detention, political prisoners or detainees, serious problems with the independence of the judiciary, arbitrary or unlawful interference with privacy, serious restrictions on freedom of expression, including violence, threats of violence, arbitrary arrests or prosecutions of journalists, censorship, and criminalization of libel and slander, serious restrictions on internet freedom, substantial interference with the freedom of peaceful protest. One of the example of recent brutal crackdown on peaceful protests against the rising costs of living in 2019, effectively deterred dissent, often leading to self-censorship and restrictions on politically participation, serious government corruption, lack of investigation and accountability for gender-based violence, crimes, violence, and threats of violence motivated by anti-Semitism, unlawful recruitment and the worst forms of child labor. Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad are also teaching teenage boys in the Gaza Strip how to shoot guns, launch anti-tank missiles and almost 50,000 Palestinian youths attend this camp organized by the Hamas. Fortunately, however, alleged silence from the international world and especially the silence of Muslim Ummah or Muslim world on this inhumane atrocity by Hamas in Gaza, will the world and Muslim Ummah rise up against Hamas, and free Gaza from this radical Islamist terrorist outfit. Voice up now, or else it late. Free Gaza from Hamas.
تاريخ 3/7/2017 تم اعتقالي لدى الجهات الأمنية في قطاع غزة على خلفية كتابة منشور على موقع فيسبوك. المنشور كان باختصار له علاقة بعقد مقارنة ما بين وضع الإنسان العادي وما بين وضع القائد أو وضع المسؤول أو أصحاب السلطة في البلد. فكنت كاتب أنا بيوم صيف وبيوم شوب بقول إنه هل ينام أطفالكم على البلاط كما ينام أطفالنا.
وكان طبعا عنده مجموعة أوراق طابعينها من تعليقات أو يعني بوستات أنا عاملهم على الفيسبوك. أنت حكيت كذا، بقول له حكيت كذا. مين أنت؟ حكيت له أنا مواطن. حكى لي مين بيحكي لك؟ مين حكى لك إنه المواطن من حقه يحكي؟
رحنا اعتصمنا عن شركة كهرباء. وأنا من الشباب اللي مسكوني، أنا زي أجوا مجموعة مليان، الباص كان عساكر من حماس مليان. يضربوا فيه بظهري.
In Gaza, once people are placed in detention, they're subjected to routine beatings, threats, taunting, coercion, and in many cases, torture. The most common tactic used by Palestinian authorities is called shabah, or positional torture.
في موضوع الشبح في له أكثر من شكل. مثلا ممكن يقعدوك على كرسي زي هيك، يربطوا ايديك لورا، يربطوا اجريك مع بعض، بيجيبوا كمان رباط من ايديك لاجريك وبتضلك هيك يوم يومين ساعات. انا كانوا يربطوا ايدي لورا ومن ورا يربطوها في خيط ويرفعوني في سقف الغرفه ويعلقوني. فكل افتكر يجوا يغمروا عيني وايدي لورا ويحطوني في زنزانه واقف لثاني يوم، ممنوع اقعد، واذا بقعد بنضرب.